John Zogby, John Zogby Strategies is the new business that he has, which is he's teamed up with John Benjamin and Jeremy Zogby, and they're doing an event coming up in September, on September 13th. And that, by the way, is a Tuesday, just also, by the way, is the Republican primary day, September 13th. And primary day, Democrat primary as well, if there are any Democrat races out there. Anyway, that's the day, and it'll be 8:30 in the morning till 11:30 at the Radisson. And the topic is demographics, managing the demographic changes in a rather dynamic community. What comes next? Unprecedented ways to collect data, but do you know what to do with the data once you obtain it? Who are the people that are going to be coming in? What do they look like? The new demographic. What are they? They're the ones that are going to be, when we're all retiring, they're the ones going to be in control. Who are they? What do they look like? John Zogby on the line right now. Good morning, John.
Hi, good morning, Bill.
So what is this new millennial group that is that we can look forward to?
Well, essentially, we are increasing in numbers of millennials and younger people. Of course, we're also increasing in the numbers of older people, too. The projections call for substantial growth in Oneida County over the next 10 years. And so there's a lot of data floating around and really unprecedented ways to gather the data.
Yeah.
What we're going to do is walk people through that and find where the business opportunities are, where the needs for services are, how people ought to be handling those demographic changes, and what they can do about them.
The big money demo used to be 25 to 54, and it seems to have moved upward. Do you agree with that?
I do. Generation Bold is what we're talking about these days, to give it a name, people 50 and older. And, of course, that's pretty much where baby boomers start. Still 78 million baby boomers, but we have a substantial number of people in this area, and that percentage is growing, who are in that age group.
Yeah.
And let's just quickly understand that there is the new 65. 65 no longer means total retirement and fixed income.
Right.
It means a robust, healthy spending group that wants to continue to work and to do good things.
Yeah, I mean, at 65, it was different 50 years ago.
Yeah.
75 years ago, certainly different further back than that. But today, people are living longer. And we've heard this a long time ago. I don't know, 10 years ago, they kept saying, boy, this area is, the crowd you want to look at is that baby boomer crowd. And now it's gone beyond that a little bit, but that's where the money is in this community. And there's a lot of people, a lot of population here in that demographic.
And it's here. And then how do you manage then, that, and at the same time, the fact that 0 to 18 age group is one that is vastly going to grow as well. Are we prepared then for the next wave of businesses and services, to deal with with that group as well?
Yeah.
John, you talk about the 0 to 18 demographic. It's something the Utica School District always talks about. They're one of the few in the state that are actually growing. Do you know why that is?
It's immigration.
Yeah, sure.
We were just talking about it.
Yeah, basically, we've had a steady influx of refugees and immigrants who you can't forget that there are immigrants who come voluntarily as well.
Right. And
then we have high poverty, which means a higher birth rate among poorer families. You combine all of that, and what it means is a steady growth in that demographic.
Yeah. It is, so what people who attend this, by the way, it's September 13th, 8:30 a.m. until 11:30, and it'll be at the Radisson. There'll be a continental breakfast and all of that. Tickets are $99 a person or $195 for groups of up to 5 people. So
that's right.
Why would someone come to this, and what is the takeaway?
Well, our sponsors are the United Way and the Chamber of Commerce and the Small Business Development Center, Town Square Media. Essentially, right there, people who work or head agencies, people who are starting businesses, people who already have a job but are looking maybe to get into a different sort of career, those who are in businesses already, basically taking a look at where the market is, where the services are, what are new services that we project, what are new business opportunities. It's a vast array of people. People in education, in healthcare need to come. People who work for not-for-profit organizations, and your typical small business startup or small business person looking to see, well, what's new?
Yeah.
What new direction do I need to head into?
And was it the Community Foundation who did the $25,000 business startup promotion just last week? And
that was the Community Foundation.
It was,
and
Think
very
Better,
exciting.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, I was so happy to see who won. They went with the Healthy Market, Downtown Market. And isn't it interesting how that Main Street USA was just decimated in the 80s and 90s, and now here we are trying to come back and bring that back and reinvent it, and that's really what they were trying to do here. And we're going to be relying on this demographic to accomplish this.
Very exciting, because first and foremost, with all respect to technology and the technology sector and those kinds of startups that are taking place, this went to a food operation. And secondly, it fills in a hole downtown, both geographically. That building has been unused for years and years, but also a need for food. I mean, that's been one of the great questions. If you're moving people downtown into lofts and so on, where are they going to buy their food?
Yeah. John, with an upcoming primary, a listener has a question here, and
Sure.
when the September 13th, on the very same day is the primary, and people are going to be going out voting, and candidates are targeting that 50-plus demographic because they're the ones that seem to vote in primaries. Is that? Do you see a change in that? Do you see the younger population getting involved and participating at some point?
The younger population is, in fact, getting involved a little bit more than in a primary like this, a little bit more than usual. But they're still kind of jaded in the political process. You'll see a greater sense of participation when you get to the general election.
Okay. Right. And this general election, boy, what do you see? I mean, you've got somebody like Donald Trump who's an out-of-the-box candidate. It could be really inspiring for both reasons. Either you love him or hate him, inspiration to get out there and vote.
Yeah, we have a new poll out in the last couple of days showing it as a 2-point race, the convention bump kind of dissipating a bit. I think it's competitive. Bottom line, I suppose younger people do come out to vote, and they end up voting Democrat because of fear of Trump, and that's particularly, I think, among younger voters. But I'm not predicting anything.
Anything could happen.
This has been unpredictable so far.
Okay, back to the event, September 13th. So I want to ask you what is interesting. You talk about these demographics. There's such a large 50-plus group that is now living and working here, and it continues to grow. Yet there's been a lot of focus on the millennials coming in. They're going to want loft apartments and this, that. But I'm finding a lot of that 50-plus group has taken advantage of these loft apartments. They want to downsize, whether it's the tiny house or the loft apartment. So with that, who should a business, and I think this could be very valuable for a business owner who's trying to strategize this event, because who should I target my efforts at? Is the millennial crowd going to be the big nugget, or should I go 50-plus?
It all depends on what your product or your service is. There are a lot of products and services that dovetail, both groups. Those that are 25 to 40, and those that are over 55. But for example, if you're looking at 50 plus, you may want to look at concierge services. providing personalized services like cleaning, helping to care for an elderly parent, for different sorts of travel experiences. Those are wide open opportunities for millennials. I think a lot of it is about food.
Yeah.
A lot of it is about clean food, non-GMO food, and even delivery services. We're not talking about people going into businesses necessarily becoming rich. We're talking about people going into businesses and making a living for themselves. And there are below-the-radar kinds of opportunities where you can target your market or find that you have a broader market. But we're there to kind of help people and steer them to think a little bit.
Very interesting. It's September 13th. We'll talk to you again a couple times. I'd like to get you in to talk more about this. It's very complex, and I think this is a great event that's going to be very educational for people. September 13th. John Zogby, thanks so much.
Thank you, Bill. Take care.